Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Play Endless Legend with me, Get Daved. For those of you unfamiliar with the game, it's a 4X strategy, kind of like Civilization, although it plays with a bit more emphasis on combat, and it's based on a space 4X game, or it's an sort of a spiritual sequel to Endless Space, which is also very good, but not as good as Endless Legend, so I'm very excited to show it to you. Imagine if the people who made Master of Orion 2 made a Civ-like game, and then you'd kind of arrive here. Alright, there are 8 factions. Let's take a look at them, even though I'm probably going to play Vaulters. We've got the Wild Walkers. Their big special ability. Every faction has a whole bunch that are just completely fixed to them, and then others, if you were to edit a custom race based on them, you could change some of them. But their big thing is that they can see enemies coming from far away. I would say that's one of them. You can see their custom traits here. Most of the ones that are permanent to a faction are military units, and you can see by the sort of the helmet there what those ones are. Broken Lords, they look super cool. Their special thing is A, they're good at killing, and B, they don't eat food, they eat dust, which is kind of like the money in the Endless games. Unfortunately, there's like no humans there's no humanity underneath the armor. At first I saw them and I was like, cool, it's Iron Man! And then read the description and was like, oh, it's Iron Man with dead Tony Stark piloting the suit, which is a lot less cool somehow. The Vaulters are sort of Nordic warrior people, or I say Nordic in the sense that they live in difficult places. And they're science-ish, and they kind of have, they declare a holy resource, which I'll get into more later. There's resources which you can find. They work a little differently than they did in Endless Space, if you're familiar with them. They work better, in my opinion. And you can declare it as a holy resource, and then that opens up some opportunities. It lets you extract more of it, but also means a lot of special things that about them rely on it. Roving clans, they're super economists. They can move their cities, because they built them on the back of giant beetles. Arnett Mages are another science group. Their big thing, like I guess power through pain. I would describe them as things that help research. Is their big strength. Necrophages turn dead into their own. Super diplomats, they can make people go to peace, so they're the annoying older sibling of the universe. Cultists are horrifying. They can't have multiple cities, but they can how do I express this? They can sort of steal assets from other cities through their conversion ability, and they can't colonize new ones. I'm gonna set it so we'll be competing against them, but you'll get a chance to see them in action. Once we examine a bunch of other things, it'll make more sense how they annoy everyone. And then the Davoids were a custom faction I developed, but we're not gonna worry too much about them. The big thing about customizing your faction in this one, I'm just going to show real quick. So Vaulters have all of these abilities. Okay. When I go to customize my race now, or my faction I should say, you can use up to 80 points, but the interesting thing is the default abilities for this faction go above 115. So they sort of identified that in most of these games, customizing your faction is way better than using any of the defaults, and so they made the defaults have slightly higher max traits, a higher point capacity, in exchange for not having any customizability. I think it's a good thing. Either way, we're going to play as the Vaulters. They're a good combination of exploration ability and research ability, which I quite like. And we're going to play against everybody, all the other groups. And we're going to play on hard, because I did pretty well on normal. And I think I've learned a little bit. And we'll find out. So if you're looking for a super expert playthrough of this game, You won't find it, but if you're looking for a hard playthrough that may or may not result in victory, I'm your guy. And if I find out that things are too easy, with things on the difficulty setting they are, I will artificially inflate the difficulty by being reckless. Those of you who have watched my other series will be familiar with this tactic. Also, 10 get Dave points for every one of these lines you can read to completion. So the void became the shape. Those would be some free get Dave points. But there were a whole bunch rattling by earlier. The world generation takes a little bit of time. Feel free to fast forward 30 seconds. I thought about editing this out, but, you know, the picture's nice to look at. There's also going to be usually a video detailing our faction's motivations. Every faction has their own core quest. There's a quest system layered on top. They really just expanded everything that was Endless Space, and in my opinion, did every single thing better. So good on you guys. Here we go. I said, here we go.
Our legend spoke of a great journey beneath the stars. Safe in our halls and minds, we ignored these old tales. But then the great quake cracked our halls open, revealing ancient secrets and relics. These unknown relics carried our patterns, our images, hints of a hidden past. We took them and fled the destruction, seeking a new life on the surface. Now the legends and relics of our past show the way to our future. The journey will be dangerous, sometimes deadly, but we go forth without fear or ignorance. For courage and knowledge are the bywords of the Vaulters.
So we're in, and we've already encountered another faction. What this is the Draken bonus. I commented that they can force people to stop wars and all that. They also know everybody at the start by default. And I think they also know where their home cities are, actually, which is an interesting bonus. But anyway, we can't have any interesting diplomatic interactions. Yet, anyway. Okay, it appears to be in the dead center of the map, which is kind of interesting. I kind of thought that the Vaulters, who are playing as, I thought they always tended to start in North or South poles. That's interesting. I'm just going to turn on the FIDS indicators. Stands for Food, Industry, Dust, and Science. FIDS is a many splendid thing. It's like oxygen for your empire. And we have a very nice starting location. So how it works is you just want lots of FIDS, okay? So there's a big advantage to having lots of food at your starting location and a lot of industry as well. Science and Dust you can get by without quite as much for a little bit. You gotta be kidding me. Sorry for the stutter there, I just had to answer the door. Where were we? Oh yeah, we have a really good starting location, I think. You generally want to get as many FIDS as possible, gather them all together. If you're not sure what to do, I think there's a benefit in having lots of food and industry. But just maximizing the total of all the numbers is a decent enough strategy. Cities aren't super specialized in this game. The only other thing I'm going to check out we have 4 moves, and it's really good to get your first city colonized on your first turn. Because we're on pace to lose money, not to keep it. I do think it's kind of worth scattering the army just to make sure you can scout out and pick a good location. So these are two very good tiles. 10 fids per tile is very strong. And building right here wouldn't be that bad, I don't think. But it doesn't have quite as much going for it all around. Like, this is just an all-around pretty good group of tiles. So that's where we're going to build our city. So I'm going to select the city founding button. And this is going to let us get an amazing 12 fids science primary and then a 10 fid food primary. And then we've got lots of good food options, or production options too. This is very good. The only real shortcoming is money, and we can handle that for a little while. You'll also see there's this border, white border around everything. It's white because nobody owns it yet. We can only build one city within that entire spot. Appears the game doesn't like that my guys were in the way. Please? There we go. And our first minor faction. Death Spiders. So that's nice. How it works is somewhere in our territory there is a minor faction. Just a little tiny city that's been built by not one of the empires or anything. Oh, it's in our neighbors. Yeah, it's in a neighboring faction, or a neighboring territory. There's probably a minor faction living in our territory as well. If we fight the defending units, you can see there's 2 units there, then we can conquer them. And if we do that, good things happen. They can join our empire, and we can get a bonus from it. Okay, the research screen. We have a city, so we're generating research quite a bit because we have a research-focused faction. First thing I'm going to go for is Mill Foundry, which is a production increase. We started with the library as a technology we already know, so that's our tech increase. There's also dust and food. Whoops. And food. They all cost the same. All techs within a level have the same cost, but every time you research a technology, that cost goes up. So whatever I want from this level will cost 28 research points, but next tech will be 35, and slowly growing. And you can see the nominal cost per research down there. Once we've researched 9 technologies, every tech we have at that first level will fill in a level, or an arc on the level 2 platter. It's not a tree, it's a stack of platters, or pancakes if you will. Once those 9 fill in, we have access to all of the level 2 technologies in whatever order we want. The order you research is important because tech gets continuously more expensive. The other thing is, Tech 2 techs aren't that much more expensive than Tech 1 technologies. Use the word tech as much as you can in a sentence. Forget Dave points. So there's no real benefit in clearing out the entire tech tree at a lower level unless you really want those technologies. You might as well go for the more advanced ones. So food for thought. Either way, we're focusing on our main fids. In this game it's technically called Fidsy. There's influence. You can see we're gaining 1 per turn. We've got the 1 star. That's used for diplomacy and empire management and political sort of stuff. We're going to have our population go up in 2 turns. This is very good. You know, both of these are pretty good situations to be in. I'm going to try having him help with food for 1 turn. And then I'm going to shift that unit over to production to see if we can get the second person in 2 turns still. Also, since we founded a city, that launches our quest line for our faction as well. I'll give you a moment to read this. You can pause if you need more time. My feelings won't be hurt. The short version of it is down here, and the super short version, what you need to do, is right here. Pacify one minor faction, then assimilate them. That's a lot easier to do if they're in your territory, because I would have to settle this northern territory to pacify that faction. Alright, our units should be easier to keep funded if we keep all of them together, I believe. There's also these temples all over the place, which are worth exploring. So even though they're really close to that temple there, oh, let's just search it. Ooh. Within 5 turns, search for a relic at the temple ruins illuminated by rays of dust. I don't understand. I've never seen anything like that before. Okay, this is more what you normally get. 30 dust. They gave us money. Just gonna try shifting this guy over to production. We're still gonna get another population unit next turn, and we shaved off a turn off the production of the Founders Memorial. Call that a win-win situation. Alright, we've researched the mill foundry. That's very important. That's going to be our second tech. Going to split our resources here. Actually, buying this quickly would help a lot, but I think I'm going to wait and see if I can save up the money to buy this instead. I don't know, that might work out quite nicely. Also worth doing, our hero is in our territory, so I'm going to do one other thing right away. Oh, this notification is just the population growing. So if I go to the heroes screen, I'm going to inspect our champion. They gain experience for doing just about everything. But I can put some accessories on the hero right away. You can do full equipment management, and there's level ups and everything. But what I'm interested in right now is the equipment, and most importantly, the Iron Talisman. Everything else Petrov Judit II has got is just the generic equipment we started with. It's increasing our stats, it's good stuff. But she doesn't start with accessories, and those are going to improve her scouting abilities for a mere 38 dust. So I'm going to go for that. And now, scouting ability should be improved. Let's double check that it applied. Yeah, we're good. I'm a little confused about that cryptic. I've never had this before. Within 4 turns, search for a relic at the temple ruins, illuminated by rays of dust. Okay, another minor faction we've encountered. The Sisters of Mercy. A support unit. Found dust, but not rays of dust. Help me, game. I'm going to turn off the FIDS indicators for now. Well, I'm probably driving someone crazy in the comments section already. Learn to play the game, Dave. I'm just going to continue my scouting. And maybe good things will happen. Who knows? That indicator over there is a glass steel deposit. Glass steel is a resource. One thing about the Vaulters is they work based on having a holy resource. We'll talk about those more later. Borders, with the diplomats no less. So I'm going to turn on the FIDS indicators a little bit. We started at an extremely good location. We probably will never be able to build our city in this direction this far, but those are some very good tiles. Mineral rich. I mean, I've played a game already where I didn't have a single tile in my entire territory with even 6 FIDS, much less multiples totaling over 10. Gonna send my units in that direction. I have a feeling I'm just gonna fail that one quest, which is too bad. Makes me very sad. Okay. We're about to have seed storage next turn. Ooh, I've never seen this minor faction before. Centaurs who live in herd groupings. Okay, cavalry unit, I can get behind that. They, don't look how I normally think of centaurs, but that's okay. And food bonus, interesting. Oh my goodness, we're right by 2 factions. Alright, we're gonna have to be pretty diligent about colonizing, but that will wait till next time! I'll see you there, everybody.